Good afternoon or good evening. Welcome to our live broadcast at Anselmo Academy of Music and the Arts. And we have created a series called Music is Live in the form of a broadcast where we feature leading musicians, educators, composers, teachers, writers, encompassing the world of music and the arts right here. Welcome to YouTube Live. This is our new platform for live broadcasts, and we encourage you to subscribe to our channel as we feature not only broadcasts, but sample lessons. We feature master classes, student recitals, teachers' performances, etc. So we encourage you to follow us on YouTube, and also you can leave any comments or questions you have for Anselmo Academy. Today, we have a unique program where we are featuring one esteemed concert pianist, Oxana Yablonskaya. We have selected to feature her performances of Chopin Concerto in F minor that she has performed at her 80th birthday celebration a few years ago, her CD of Schubert-Liszt transcriptions recorded in 1979, and a live performance of Chopin Sonata in B flat that she performed live on her return visit to St. Petersburg in 1991. We also have a pre-recorded interview with Ms. Yablonskaya we did a few weeks ago, and she now resides in Israel, and we'll feature that interview shortly. Ms. Yablonskaya is also serving on the honorary board at Anselmo Academy of Music and the Arts, and that's a unique board that features musicians and artists dedicating their life to the world of music and the arts, who are on this board in support of our enrichment type programming we provide at local schools and community centers. All coming up in a few minutes, and a few words about Anselmo Academy. We are celebrating our 20th year anniversary this school year, and we are honored and proud to have served thousands of students with our signature programs that we organize at local schools. These are group class programs that we have conducted for 20 years. And we have first started with general music education and then piano lessons, and have now expanded to a variety of classes from piano to violin, guitar, voice, musical theater and acting, drums, saxophone, music theory, Disney class, and then early childhood education class. We hope you stay safe during this pandemic and enjoy our broadcast. The name Oxana Yablonskaya needs no introduction. She's one of the top concert pianists in the world today, having performed in over 40 countries, and once considered to be best kept secret of the Soviet Union. Among her story, there were many unique and interesting facts, and I'd like to mention just a few. She is the person who met Shostakovich at his Jubilee celebration way back in Moscow. She has studied with Alexander Goldenweiser, who is the founder of the Central Music School in Moscow. He was also friends with Rachmaninoff, Scriabin, and Lev Tolstoy. Ms. Yablonskaya had support of 75 American celebrities who signed a petition to help her leave the Soviet Union in the 1970s. Among those celebrities were Leonard Bernstein and Katharine Hepburn. Without any further ado, we'd like to begin with our first video, which is a short clip of Miss Yablonskaya performing Chopin Concerto number 2 in F minor at her 80th birthday celebration with her son, Dmitry Yablonsky, as a conductor. Take a look. fantastic. Um, Miss Yablonskaya was my professor at Juilliard when I first arrived to New York in 1989. I remember coming to her studio door and all of a sudden hearing Schubert-Liszt performance and thinking to myself, who is playing? And I remember putting my ear to the door, listening for a little bit, and then once it was finished, I knocked, and Miss Yablonskaya said, "Come in, come in." And as I came in, I saw Miss Yablonskaya at the piano by herself, just waiting for her next student. The piece that we are about to feature is from her CD recording of Schubert-Liszt transcriptions that was recorded in 1979. And that CD won the Grand Prix at the International Liszt Society in Budapest. And we are featuring Gretchen at the spinning wheel. Take a listen. And as you saw, we have created a slideshow of Miss Yablonskaya photographs, and I'd like to bring back two photographs from that show. The first one is a group picture of Miss Anaida Sumbatian with her students, and I'd like to show you that Miss Yablonskaya is at the very top row in the center. I hope you can recognize her. And right behind, basically, Anaida Sumbatian. And right next to Miss Yablonskaya, to her, at her left shoulder, it's Vladimir Ashkenazy. Okay, I just wanted to share that. And the next picture I'd like to mention is, this is Miss Yablonskaya home in New York. And to the left is the world famous ballerina Maya Plisetskaya on her visit to New York and meeting with Miss Yablonskaya. Okay. So now we are ready to proceed to the interview we recorded live with Miss Yablonskaya, sharing her story. We had a little bit of a bad connection at some parts of that interview, so we had to edit it a little bit, but please enjoy. It's an honor to have you join our broadcast today at Anselmo Academy of Music and the Arts. We hope you are staying safe during the pandemic and well. Welcome to our broadcast, Ms. Yablonskaya. Your life is a great example of so many musicians and artists and movie directors, choreographers that came from Soviet Union, whose lives were hidden from the rest of the world behind, closed doors, so to speak. There was no travel, no performances during the Soviet era. And yet the country at that time was filled with figures of huge talent who eventually became great contributors like yourself to the world of culture during the 20th and 21st century. Very interesting story. I'm again honored to have you as our guest. So let's begin with your childhood. You growing up in Moscow as a young girl. How did you begin your musical journey?
Yeah, like you said, I born in Moscow, and my mother was pediatrician doctor, and my father was electrical engineer, but he loved music, and he knew music more than any musician. You know, it was like his passion for all his life, particularly violin. And my older sister started to play violin. My parents said when I hardly could walk, we have small upright piano in Moscow, like, I born in communion apartment. You mean you have one room with, I don't know how many neighbors. And I could not walk, but I came to piano and I started something to play with two hands from very childhood. And my sister played violin, and Central School of Music was very far from the home. My mother brought me and my sister, we brought her to the school, and I was walking, Mama said. I was walking and I was singing on her repertoire, and It was the director of the Central Music School was Sokolov, very famous hornmeister. So my mother said, why you don't bring the girl to the school? She already singing all the time. And it was audition. I was 5.5, you know, it was like from beginning once a week lesson, and later 2 times, and finally when you're 7, I was almost 7, you're going to real school. And like 400 people applied for school, and they took only 20. This is very funny story because, of course, my parents brought me to somebody who were teaching me how to sing там маленькой елочки, холодно зимой, like poor, you know, the tree growing in the forest, you know, like for children. But when I came to the room and somebody told me, oh girl, what do you like mostly? Do you know some song which you like it? And I always have low voice, and I start to sing, you know, like song when I could hear in a movie, the very simple, kind of vulgar song. Everybody start to laugh like crazy. After, what do you like more? And I start to, Варваришка залез ко мне в карман, the same from another movie. No, to the end, my mother was almost fainting from the terrible what I did. And after finally I was singing the children's song, and they took me to the school. But you know, Central School was music school. We have music, we have every subject all together. In the 4th grade, half kids were out if they not good enough and make progress. In the 8th grade, another half was out. But in meanwhile, somebody came from another school, maybe older, you know, pre-audition. My teacher, I have a wonderful teacher, Sumbatian, she said, she always tell me, if you don't have A+, I kill you. And I have A+, of course. When I finish school, I play audition for Moscow Conservatory. I have to play audition. And my teacher, when I was a small girl, she told me, you know, you have to remember, you're Jewish girl and teacher is Armenian. In this country, you never will be number 1. And it was very good when she told me this, because I got to conservatory, I was number 4, some another competition I couldn't go, but I was very positive, I never was upset, and I just continued to learn, and I play in Moscow Conservatory competition for the best performance of concerto. I won with Beethoven 4, and after I won with Liszt first. It was very easy for me to study. My teacher brought me to older professor conservatory, Goldenweiser. And I asked Goldenweiser if I can have assistant Bashkirov. Bashkirov was very young, and he said, okay. Even Bashkirov denied this. All the time he said, no, he invited me himself. But I know then I asked. And I was first student of Bashkirov, like assistant, but I was his first student. By the way, it's very tragic because a few days ago he died, and I will play very soon concert in Jerusalem for his memory. You know, when I teach all my life, when I'm teaching, I'm always, I like student and everybody who never put bad things for the teacher. They always remember teacher. You know, in my age, I'm always mention name of Anaida Stepanovna Sumbatian, Goldenweiser, Bashkirov, Tatiana Nikolaeva, with whom after Goldenweiser that I did my DMA, anyway, aspirantura in Moscow. And I think we have to remember teachers, what what they did for us, what they give us life. You know, I come back now, but when I'm always have contact with my student from Moscow, of course, from the Juilliard. One of my, maybe the best student were Anselmo. You know, she studied with me and we have contact, and I'm very happy when my students have success and they continue to bring music and art in a life, because this is very important and more important than anything. To have this beauty next to you, you know, you live different life.
I just wanted to mention that these names, Anaida Sumbatan, Alexander Goldenbazer, and Tatiana Nikolaeva, some of them might not have been so well known abroad, but in Soviet Union, these were extremely well known musicians and pedagogues that played huge, enormous importance for generations. And
yeah, you know, Sumbatan was teacher of Vladimir Ashkenazy for 10 years, was teacher of Vladimir Kraini for 10 years, first prize Tchaikovsky competition. And Goldenbazer he was sometimes director of Moscow Conservatory, but most important, it was his idea to have a school for very gifted children, when later become Central Music School. It was his idea, and he was himself who was teaching in this school. For example, kids play some Czerny etude in D major, and Goldenbazer now play in G major. You know, they were different education. You know, kids not have to work like robots. No, they make progress with this. After you play, for example, Bach, like invention, 2, 3 voices, he can tell, play second voice from beginning to the end. If somebody teach like this, people becoming really much deeper and better musician, not like only, you know, practice, and for this piece.
That you became winner of several international competitions. You were a winner of top prizes. And I wanted to get to the subject that you were forbidden to play outside of the Eastern Bloc. You received multiple invitations to play in the West, but because of the Soviet system, you were, you know, forbidden to go. Please tell us more how that was all about.
When I was 17, I started to teach at Central School. And I was teaching all my life, you know, from 17, after I was teaching at Moscow Conservatory, after Juilliard, now I'm professor in Jerusalem Academy. Besides, I'm always have my school in Italy, in Switzerland, and Los Angeles, it's different. You know, because in Russia, it was privilege to be professor, to be teacher. And the best musicians, the best performer were teaching. In the West, really a little bit different, because when, like you said, I won competition, Marguerite Long was Grand Prix in Rio de Janeiro, was first prize, and Beethoven was in Vienna, was second prize. It was, when I came to America, I have a very good manager, he said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to teach. You know, because I think it's most important to give your knowledge to students. Besides that, you talk about competition. You know, if you play competition, you know how to prepare competition, how to go on stage, how to express yourself. This is very important, because many people practice just play. No, every lesson you play like you go, you perform this. Competition, of course, was, you know, I couldn't go for a few competitions. They did not let me. Finally, I came to Marguerite Long, and I was always number one, and I stay like number one play concert after this. But it was very good to bring first prize to Russia another person, and for the same political reason, all political. And I came to Moscow. I have invitation to France for 21 concerts, as they did not let me go. And it was like first shock. And after in my life, I did not react to anything, because like if Italy invite me, or after Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Canarian Islands, I never could go. But I play in East Germany, I play in Bulgaria, like Eastern countries, Poland. And I play, of course, a lot in Soviet Union, from Kamchatka, Sakhalin to all country. And I can tell you, if I play very far in some city, I play the same how I will play in Paris, because you have to be, you have your standard, and you cannot play less, because this is not Champs-Élysées in Paris, or like Concertgebouw in Amsterdam.
So besides the fact that you couldn't leave Eastern Bloc and fulfill your talent and career, you were still a very prominent figure among, very well-known Soviet musicians like Gilels, Richter, Kogan, and you were also recording with Melodia label. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was solist of Moscow Philharmonic, which was highest, like you said, it was Gilles, Richter was very high. Every year I play in a big hall of Moscow Conservatory. It was highest what you can do. And I play in every capital of the Republic. No, I have very good concert. And I record for melody level. Very interesting, because when I left Russia, I disappear from anything, But now, recently, they give me new disc with my recording. And now they come back, like, I play Tchaikovsky Fantasy with orchestra recently. And I play in Kremlin. It was Moscow Star. I play concerto with orchestra, with Большой Theater, and I play in last anniversary of Shostakovich, when he was alive, in Kremlin, and I play concerto with orchestra. No, I play very important concert, and I was busy so much. But I combine like teaching and this. I start to conduct. I had the orchestra, but after I had to leave because of it was different schedule with conservatory. But I had one concert in New York when my student played two concerts by Chopin, and I conducted.
So in 1975, you decided that you wanted to leave, and you applied for US visa, which resulted in a loss of your position at the conservatory. All your concerts stopped, all your performing career stopped. You were deprived of all the opportunities. And then there was a petition, signed petition by 45 different famous,
75.
American, 70.
It was 75. I have this letter at home. Yeah, I really want to go. It was like 73, but for a few years I could not get invitation, because it was like you have to have invitation. Mostly it was fake invitation, but you have to get this invitation, and after you applied for visa. They stopped. They got this invitation, never give to me. Finally, I have this invitation in 75, and I could not leave till 77. I lost everything. I did not play. And before I sold my piano, my Bechstein piano, very cheap, because I give to musician. It was for me like, the best friend piano. And my very dear friend one day opened the door and she brought me upright. At least I could have piano before I left. No, it was terrible time, and KGB called me. They scared me. They say they will kill my son. My son couldn't leave house for many months alone. He has to go to school, but only with me taxi, because they told me. I used to live in a building of writers. But you know, when you're writer, they all have problem is they took them to prison, because much better to be musician, of course. You play the same composer like you played before. And my mother passed away, and we cremated her, and I brought her ashes to America, because this time you never can go back. Much later, people who left Russia, they have two passports, you know, they travel. No, when I left, it was forever. And it was very, very bad time. And I tell you, I never have nostalgia, never wants to go back. I was few times back, I play concert, I make recording, only for like music business. And it was terrible time. And I don't want to talk about this, and I don't want to go back.
So in 1977, you arrived in New York City, and a lot of people, I think, who are not from Soviet Union or Russians don't understand that you come from such a big career and you come to the United States completely unknown. You did not have a name, you did not, you know, have all those achievements that would be recognized in the United States. So you kind of had to start from scratch. Tell us more about that.
You know, like you said, 75 people, my sister did this, signed petition for me to go out from Russia, to give me freedom. It was included Bernstein, all movie star, Miller, most famous people, they signed petition. And finally, I came to the States. You know, I did this maybe 99% for my son. I want my son to live in free world and to be, I did not know even I can play one note. I just came out from the Soviet Union. It was very bad time there. And I came to New York, and my sister was already there like 1 year. And they introduced me to some manager, Maxim Gershunov, and in 3 months, I play concert in Alistali Hall. He said, now everybody plays this new hall. And after I met Bill Judd, was wonderful manager. He said, no nonsense, you have to play in Carnegie Hall. And I play in big Carnegie Hall. For encore, I play with Full House, and I play Star and Stripes Forever for encore. It was incredible, of course, experience. And after I start to play, you know, in the United States, my first concert was in El Paso. Somebody was sick, and I could play Tchaikovsky concerto, and I came on stage. It was American flag, and it was American anthem. You know, it was like I could not believe even when I'm there. No, of course, you know, manager play a big role, because if manager send my recording or something, people have to respect him, at least to listen, because you can imagine how many people sent the paper and asking for concert. And of course, he was beginning was very good with his manager. Yeah, you know, I did not go to Moscow, because in Russia, Moscow is one world, and Petersburg, Leningrad this time, it's another. And I came to Petersburg first to play concert in big hall. I give some, you know, master classes. They invite me to teach there. I didn't go, but it was, I remember it was terrible time in Russia. It was like hungry, empty shops, but it was full house in a big hall of Philharmonia. And I remember how it was, you know, my relative, I have only few relatives in the world, came from Moscow to my concert. It was very nice. And it was like, I don't know, but it touchy, you know, like still it was first time I came, and it was, but Petersburg, it's another world, it's not. But when I came to Moscow, it was different, because to go to Moscow Conservatory, very close was the office when I was staying 6 in the morning to go in and ask visa to go out, and they refuse, and they were terrible, like sadistic, how they talk to you. I was still scared, you know, it was so unpleasant, because it was my city. I born there, and I left when I was only 38, you know, but was very, very strange feeling. But to play, you know, I can tell the people still going to the concerts, they love music. And when I want to go to theater, I love theater, to drama theater, and then I was in Bolshoi theater. And when I was few days, I was already, besides my concert, in a few theaters to see a show, because I love it so much. By the way, when they did not, I could not go to do my DMA from the beginning, they did not take me for the same reason. And I started to work in art theater, художественный theater, like pianist. And I was in every show when I was playing behind the stage. You know, it was some experience. Yeah, unfortunately, I could not go so much to theater because I never learned English. I never had one lesson in English. You can hear with my accent, of course. And when you go to American, I was, but you more have pleasure to go with Russian language or some, you know, other one I speak. I don't know, German, Italian. Yeah. Now, you know, he's conductor, very fine, very nice. I make many recordings with him. For me, the best to play with him, because we have like one blood circulation. And we play when he was 19, he played debut in big Carnegie Hall with me. And a few days ago, we played concert here in Jerusalem. There was no public. We ran a music festival in Spain, and before it was in Israel. Now he's doing very, very big festival in Malta and here, and competition. You know, we're always busy. We have in Duxbury next to Boston festival. And he's very, very good organizer. And most important, I think, because when he plays cello, he has so warm sound, you know, and such a pleasure to play with him. We never have any problems, you know, to rehearse, to play. We understand each other. Yeah, no, 70th birthday, you know, I'm always play when it's anniversary, I play 3 concerts with orchestra, and my son, of course, conduct when I was in Carnegie Hall. And now 80, I was in Israel, and I play 3 concerts with orchestra and in Jerusalem, and my son conduct me, of course, the best. And we will see what happens if I'm still playing when I'm 85, I'm 82, but see, I'm play now concerts with him, and I'm still playing. Unfortunately, it was very difficult year for everybody. And we have so many 3 quarantine, you have to stay at home, or you can walk dogs, not so far, but normally you stay at home. And now we have concert. Before my son have concert, he plays solo and conduct orchestra. It could be 21 or 35 people. I play a concert in Jerusalem Music Center. It was public, a little bit behind, only like 30 people. And I play with him recital in beautiful hall, this center, no public at all. Of course, it's very difficult, you know, when you play normally, like, I don't talk about Theater Cologne in Buenos Aires and 5,000 people,
Yes.
and in Japan everywhere, 2,000 this, but when nobody, it's really different feeling, because normally you share, you feel reaction of the public.
Mm.
But here it's, but okay, I hope it will be better and we will meet each other and we can have real concert with public. But another story, make concert and always a recording, and you know, you can see what happens. You know, we did not move to Israel straight because we live a little bit. He was building a piano fabric in Azerbaijan. This time I have my school in Italy, and a beautiful place. After I have school in Lugano, and after we moved to Madrid, outside of Madrid, it was wonderful because 2 times a week we could go to Prado Museum, you know, when it's the best museum in the world, and you don't need to rush. You can go just for one hall, next day for another, beautiful. And after we move outside of Barcelona, on the Pyrenees mountain, and we lived there a few years. But of course, I traveled all the time. I did not stay there. But to the end, you know, we want to move to Israel. And now we live in Jerusalem, and I'm very happy. I remember when it was my anniversary and I had people from Vienna came as they start to complain, we need this, we live in such a capital. And I said, you know, many great capitals in Europe. You have Paris, you have London, you have Brussels, you have Vienna, you have Berlin, but Jerusalem alone. Really, you feel like you're closer to God. You know, it's wonderful feeling and completely different, but you know, I'm very comfortable. To tell you the truth, I'm comfortable everywhere. You have your music and your brain occupied. And I'm very happy because we have very good atmosphere in Jerusalem. Remind me the first years in a Juilliard. It was so good, you know, people wonderful, very respectful, and I do what I want, and very nice. You know, when Tatiana Nikolaeva, very famous woman, she was my professor in my DMA when I did in Moscow. She has enormous repertoire. She very famous, she played all Bach, all Shostakovich, practically wrote prelude and fugue for her. I met her, she came to America. I did not see her 20 years. First question, she told me, Oksana, what did you learn? And I started to tell her, this. She said, most important, you're hungry for new music. You know, I want to tell, if people discover, we have such a big repertoire, and this, you always can have something. Now, for example, this difficult time, you have lesson on from anything, Zoom or FaceTime. Of course, it's not the same like you see people. But just now, Academy, European Academy invited me for some session we have here. You have to be busy if you want to share your knowledge and you love to music. You know, if for example, I listen to Sofronitsky, you know, he was wonderful, incredible musician, pianist. When I listen his like one Schubert song, Schubert-Liszt, and I can cry, I can tell I really love music. In my age, because I play piano 77 years, can you believe? It's so much, but you love music, you have dream with music, you get morning in the music, you drive in car, you have music. And this is very important, if you're honest with music and if you share, you know, because you share. And the most important, of course, for kids, know music. Because if they learn music, if maybe some families, they never have music at home, you know, but they have to know what, I think this life will be much more rich and different.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Yablonskaya. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
Yes, likewise. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Miss Yablonskaya, one more time. We want to close our broadcast with the last music excerpt that we have of Chopin Sonata in B flat that Miss Yablonskaya performed in 1991 in St. Petersburg. That was her first time that she returned back to Russia. Take a listen.
Шопен, соната номер 2, си бемоль минор, сочинение 35-е, в 4 частях. 3-я и 4-я части исполняются без перерыва.
Fantastic. We wanted to wish Miss Yablonskaya much health and happiness and много лета, and hoping that we can hear more performances from Miss Yablonskaya in the very near future, more live performances. And thank you all listeners for joining us today. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us any comments or questions.